Tracy. Welcome to my channel. If you haven't been here before, welcome back if you watch my videos. And if you do, I thank you so much. I love to upcycle clothes and turn ordinary thrifted items or just stagnant items in your closet into fun, edgy pieces. Breathe new life into them. And today we are working on just a basic staple in anyone's wardrobe, whether it's summer and you want a go-to t-shirt that's kind of fun and edgy, or you are coming into fall and winter and you want a cool layering piece with a flannel or a button-up or a jacket. So today we're working on this t-shirt. It's kind of a slate blue, and I am using, okay, see these bibs? I actually wanted a pair of shorts one day and I cut the bottoms off. I know I'll regret that maybe in the fall when I went pants, but anyway, I am using the bottoms of these, and all I did here was patch these and just take a white cloth and dip it in pure bleach and bleached over top of it. That's what I did when I originally made these. So this is the fabric. I'm going to use my lettering. I'm going to do a number 17, but I also was torn. I almost did this gray t-shirt, and I found this fun little quilted lap blanket at Goodwill. I thought that would be cute too, to do like a number 17 or a heart or write the word love. Anyway, I chose to go with this one, and we're gonna get started. Okay, so the first thing I did is I just took a piece of paper. This is packing paper, and I drew out my design. Mine's going to be 17. Yours can be a heart, a peace sign, whatever you want. So now these are 9 inches tall and about 2 inches wide. And now I'm just going to cut those out. Okay, so the next thing I want to do after I cut my pattern out is I'm just going to lay it where I want it on my fabric. And chalk doesn't show up. Normally I would use chalk, but it's not showing up well on these pants. So I'm going to use a marker. I'm just going to trace around it. And when I get it all the way traced, I'm just going to cut it out like I did this number 7. And I think I failed to mention in the introduction, we're going to do some paint splattering also. So that's going to be the main decoration, I think, you know, this applique and the paint splattering. So I'm going to continue tracing around this and cut it out. Okay, so before I pin these letters on, I am laying my t-shirt out on the table, and I'm just taking a piece of cardboard and I am going to slide that between the 2 layers just to help me pin that. Okay, now I'm just laying my letters out where I want them on the t-shirt, and I am going to take some pins and just pin them to the t-shirt. This is where the cardboard comes in handy. You don't have to stick your hand under there and try not to catch that bottom layer of fabric. So I am just going to get these pinned on. Okay, now that I have these pinned on, I just will go to my machine and I will stitch all the way around each letter. And I will use a zigzag stitch, and I'll use my largest length of zigzag stitch. And I am going to use white thread. You can either use coordinating thread or a contrasting thread. And I think on these t-shirts, a contrasting thread is kind of fun. I could even do red or whatever, but I'm choosing to do white. Okay, I'm at my machine. I'm removing that front plate, sliding my shirt bottom first. And I am just going to start anywhere really at a corner, go forward backwards like I normally would with my largest zigzag stitch, and I'll stay fairly close to the edge and just go all the way around each letter. Okay, so I have these all sewn on, and now down at the bottom I had a couple stains, and that's why I'm adding patches. You can add patches if you want, you don't have to. I went back to that quilt and I cut out a 6.5 by 1.5 rectangle for there. And then inside this quilt, or the back side of this quilt, was sort of this denim looking fabric. I cut out a similar size, 6.5 inches by 1.5. And now I'm just going to pin these on. And then I will also sew each one of these on, and I will do a zigzag stitch. And I think I'll stick with the white thread just so it shows up. And so I'll go around each one of those. Now I have the patches sewn on the bottom, and I turned it over and I did almost the exact same thing to the back side, down low, off center. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is just throw it in the washer and dryer. This denim will fray alongside that stitching and be really cute, and the patches will fray too. So I want to go ahead and let the wash machine and dryer fray that, and then we'll come back and paint it. Okay, so here it is all washed and dried. It has some cute fraying. And now I'm going to go set it outside in the sun and the grass while I prep the paints to paint it. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix up some black and white paint, 2 piles basically on one paper plate. And I will use this brush, and it's just a brush I use on everything, nothing fancy. It's probably some sort of latex brush, 1.5 inch. Okay, and so I will take some white craft paint, and I am just going to squeeze a little pile out on my paper plate. And then I'll do the same with some black acrylic craft paint. Squeeze a little pile out on my plate. And now this is fabric painting medium, or you can call it textile medium. It's clear. It just mixes with the paint so that it adheres to fabric and is washable. And it is recommended that you do 50-50, 50% paint, 50% textile medium. But I'm going to do 70-30 because it becomes sort of translucent if you go 50-50. So I'm going to do 70% paint and about 30% textile medium. And I will just squeeze what I think is about 30% on top of my paint piles. And I'll take some sort of plastic utensil and stir that up. See, it becomes runnier too with the textile medium. And I'll just set this over here on my paper towel, take a different utensil, whoops, and mix up the black. Okay, then I'm just going to take my paper plate and my brush outside to where my shirt is. Okay, so now I'm out in my yard. I have my shirt laid out, and I'm starting with the back because the back isn't as important in the front. It's better to kind of practice on the back. And what I will do is start with white. I'm not going to dip it in there yet. And I will just flick it onto my shirt. And just start with a little bit at first till you kind of figure out how much will splatter on the shirt. Okay. Maybe I'll go a different direction here. Okay. So for me, that's enough white on there. Now I'm just going to dab off my brush and dip it in the black. And I don't have it super loaded up there. I don't have a gob on there. You know, you can do as much or as little as you like. Okay, now I'm going to let that dry to the touch, and I'll turn it over And if this paint is still wet, I can still use this. If this dries out too much before that's dry, I'll have to mix up a new plate. Okay, this is what the back looks like right now. It's not dry yet. I'll let you know how long it takes to dry. Okay, so after about 20 minutes, this is dry enough to turn over. It's not bone dry, but it's dry enough to turn over. And I'm just going to do the same thing to this side. There's no rhyme or reason where I splatter it, just wherever I feel. Okay, I think that's enough white. I'm going to go to the black. And I think that's good. Okay, so when this side is dry, I'll show you the last thing I do. I heat set it. I'll show you what I do there. Okay, so it's been about an hour. This has been out in the hot sun and it's dry. So now the last thing I want to do is just come to my ironing board and throw this over the end here. And I want to heat set this so that the paint becomes more permanent and less likely to do anything like disappear when you wash it, anything like that. So I just take a tea towel and throw it over the fabric, and I am going to turn my steam off on my iron, and I have it on a hot setting. Okay. And I will just hold this onto my t-shirt for 10 seconds, and then I will move it to the next spot, hold it for 10 seconds, and just continue to do that until my whole t-shirt has been heat set. Okay, I'm going to finish this up and I'll come back. Okay, so here it is all finished. I cuffed the sleeves and put a little knot in it and completely updated it from the way it originally was. Now at the end of this, I'm going to do a quick little slideshow of other t-shirts that I've created and sold over time. And hopefully it'll get the creative juices flowing.